We'll start with Kirsten, known to us as Alma. She wrote a book called Cult Scare. It's available over at that table from her at $10 a book. And I want to let you in on a little secret. Scholars of religion who study new religious movements all over the world are starting to read this book and rave about it. They are fascinated by her story. They tell other academics that they need to read it. You can hear from yourself from Kirsten here and now. We want to give her as much time as she needs to say what she has to say today. To reveal to you her personal nightmare of her cult scare and of the price she paid to be here, to follow our master, Yeshua. You might wonder why anyone would try to stop you or her from practicing your faith, the faith that you chose to believe in. Why would anyone spend thousands of dollars trying to deprogram you from the path that you freely chose? And why there would be those who willingly did these criminal activities to you while claiming to rescue you from something worse. You might also be surprised at just how much and how often these efforts still go on today. Kirsten will reveal to you the inside story of what really happened to her and the choices she made. But the most important question of all, how and why Kirsten still believed after 2 deprogrammings, why did she come back to the Vine House? What does that say? Why is she here at all? And it's really with great joy in my heart that I bring to you Kirsten.
Oh boy.
I told her earlier today that all that she's been through in going through these experiences is so that she could share them here today with you.
Okay. I just want to say that I'm really happy that I can be here today and that I can, if I, can this be lifted? Here, I think I got it. Yeah, that's good. That I can share with you a little bit from my life, and if it would bring any kind of clarity to you, any kind of hope, any kind of courage, then I'm so happy to be able to share with you these things. I just want to start with there's probably many of you that have read the book, but I'll start for those of you who haven't read the book, that just growing up for me, I came from a fairly an upper middle class family, and I had everything that I wanted that money could buy, but I was still very unsatisfied. And I was searching for love and really the meaning of life and why I was created. And in my restlessness, I just started to roam and search. And I remember one day being down in Berkeley, California, and I was there on Telegraph Avenue, and all the merchants were out. And I was probably 15 years old, and in the early 70s there. And as I was looking around, my heart just began to, fill up with hope that something new was happening. I could sense it. It was like a revolution of love. And I looked around, and I remember seeing this old hippie there that was sitting on the corner, and I began to share with him my excitement. And I just remember how he looked up at me really with burnt out eyes, and he said, "Hey, babe, you're about 10 years too late." And I remember that something inside of me just, I don't know how to really explain it. I was so disheartened. And I was coming in on the tail end of a movement that was actually failing. And so just I continued to search and to hope. And I know that there was many musicians in that day who sang words that meant a lot to me, that spoke of real things and real issues. But there was really, just going to concerts on the weekend, I still was left alone and without any real hope. And in my frustration, I got into a lot of trouble, and I finally ran away from home for the last time. And as I was hitchhiking across the country, I was really desperately searching for why I was born and what my purpose was and where love was and if it existed. And as I came through Kansas City one night, I'd been hitchhiking for several weeks, and it was in wintertime. I'd left with $4.50. It was a pretty rough trip for a 17-year-old. But as I came into Kansas City there, I remember walking down the street. It was late at night, and or it was dark, and my sleeping bag had been stolen by a trucker, and I was just didn't really know what to do. So as I was walking along, I remember hearing, actually first I remember seeing there was a church building on the right side. It was Wednesday night, and I saw this light on in the building, and I thought, oh, maybe there's somebody in there that could help me. And I walked over to the building, and had big glass doors and these steps set in all this quartz rock. And I went in and I opened the door, and I followed the light where there was a light burning on inside. And I got in there, and there was 3 people that were speaking together. It looked like a pastor, or another man and another woman. And they were talking, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm just here to ask if there's a place where I could stay the night. My sleeping bag had been stolen, and I just need something to eat." And they looked at each other, just totally confused, like totally disarmed. I disarmed them. They didn't know what to say, and they were uncomfortable about the question. Finally, the woman said, "I think there might be a Catholic charity down the street. You can just keep walking. Maybe they can help you." And I remember walking out through the doors and just being really confused, wondering if that's what God was like. And I continued on down the road, and then I remember how there was another church. I passed another church after a while, and I ventured to go in there, and they were showing a film strip about Jesus. And his feet were about 2 feet off the ground. He was kind of glowing, and I describe it a little bit more in my book, but it seemed like a very unreal type of person. But I just remember the film strip broke, and then I went up to the man, and I thought, oh, this is my chance. I'll ask him if there's anybody here that would be able to take me in for the night and maybe give me something to eat. So I went up and I asked him, I said, "Sir, do you know anybody who could help me find a place to sleep tonight and get something to eat?" And he took a long, hard look over his whole congregation. And after a moment of looking at all the faces and all the people, he got back to me and he said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know of anybody." And I just remember how I walked out into the cold, and I was just, my confusion was increasing, and just wondering, where is God? Is God love? Where is he? And as I